Yeah, wild. We're all here recording like cool
Hello.
people.
It's like
Hello.
Yeah.
It's like we're gathered here to talk about
Stuff.
and things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I did my little intro bit,
TTRPGs?
and yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
I have no
Fucking
intro bit on
wonderful.
mine.
I am
Scuff.
in the midst of building one.
I'm just gonna let it go.
With mine, I do just a little tiny intro where it's just me, my chibi PNG on a stage.
Yeah.
But it's always off the cuff. It's never the same
Yeah.
thing twice. It's wonderful. Fuck scripting anything.
Yeah, exactly. When we actually do a real podcast thing that we were talking about in the DMs, some of it should be script as talking points, so we don't go off the cuff.
Oh, 100%. I've done podcasts before that are just off the cuff, and it always devolves into like tangents.
Yeah. We just need like little bullet points.
Yep. That and getting me and Cell in a call at the same time is gonna be just Tangent City, so you're gonna have to keep us on track.
Listen,
I'll do my
I'm
little
more than willing to come in.
Yep. Hello.
Listen. Hello. It's time.
Hello.
to talk.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk
No,
about
that's-
things.
That's the hey, get back on
Yeah.
track.
Yeah, that's
That is
little
exactly what
Abby
that is.
going. Hello.
That's
I'm on my
what
little
she does when we go
soapbox.
start. That's what she does when we have to start Curse of Strahd and we're all being giggly.
Oh yeah.
I
Usually
love that.
yeah, so like what I anticipate with like Through the Looking Glass when we run it is 30 minutes is for goof and gaggles. I will ask for a recap during those goof and gaggles, and then I'll go, I would like to start the session. Are we all ready? And then I hear a chorus of yeah. And then I do my opening
Yeah.
spit.
Fucking wonderful. Speaking of like Through the Looking Glass and Curse of Strahd, one day
Yeah.
for my channel, I need to get you to DM Curse of Strahd. Like I want you to run Curse of Strahd for my YouTube
So I
channel
did-
one day.
I talked to Frozen about this when we were talking about
Mhm.
D&D characters the other day. And
Yeah.
I don't know if Sage wants to do it, or Sal wants to do it, or I want to do it first, but one of us wants to run Curse of Strahd for a performance check.
Fuck yes, I really
my
want to play
stipulation-
in that game.
Yeah. So my stipulation is I want players who have never played Curse of Strahd before. So, like, it would be you, Ven, and Frozen, like, the first three, and then
Well,
I would
so
just have
I
to
don't
find...
know if I count because I've never played the 5e Curse of Strahd, but I've played literally every other Ravenloft module.
No,
I mean,
don't worry. We kind of futz it around.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, it gets changed so much that half the time you can identify it as Strahd unless you squinted really hard.
Yeah. My thing is that the what I want to play in a Curse of Strahd game is someone who has changed Barovia so much, but I want to play Belle in Curse of Strahd because that's where she was originated, was the Ravenloft campaign.
Yeah.
Well, first it was the actual module for Eye of the Beholder, and then Ravenloft.
Okay, gotcha.
And so like by the time she got to Ravenloft, she was level 3.
Okay.
Like so she wasn't super strong, but going back to Ravenloft, like as a place for Belle, and it being so different, where she's like, wait, this was, oh god, not here again, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because
And,
I think
like-
that would be a fucking hilarious characterization.
Because, like, I always start at level 3, and it's, like, what I was explaining to Frozen, it's, like, I want new people who, like, vaguely know the module or have never actually played the module, because both Ven and Frozen kind of vaguely know what's going on. Like, Strahd's the main guy, it's, like, a MacGuffin kind of ordeal, collect the items to defeat the Dark Lord. That's the basic shtick of what they know.
Or side with the Dark Lord. help him get Irina back.
And like I prefaced when I was talking to Frozen that if I run a Fairy Tale Curse of Strahd game, it's unfortunately you guys won't be canon to Sylvestris, because the one I run on Saturday is going to be canon. And what I was explaining to Frozen and what I said on the session 0 is like, because we're breaking it into seasons, there is a strong likelihood that I will finish the Curse of Strahd campaign before we get to like the 3rd arc of Sylvestris, or like the 2nd arc, like in the middle of the 2nd arc. And at that point, you guys have to deal with the consequences of Barovia just apparating back into Sylvestris in the middle of like the dire plot.
Dope. So I have a question actually pertaining to that. So we had talked in DMs about me running a one-shot.
Yeah.
That is around that area. Would my one-shot be canon?
Yeah. Yes, it would.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun little little thing.
So yeah, like,
it might not be. It might be like a 5-shot because I can't tell that story in one session, but
like a mini series.
You know me, I'm too wordy. Yeah, I'm too wordy to do one. I've only ever successfully done a one-shot one time, and it was on accident.
I know, we always have to do like 2 shots because like you can never tell a story with a bunch of bozos with ADHD in like 4 hours. You can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. If I had like 7 hours to play one game of D&D, I might be able to do it, but like nah, it's not possible.
For your knowledge, just because I haven't brought it up with you because we were just talking about DMs, there on the Sylvestris map, there is a keep in between Ulrich and the Sherwood Forest called the Lone Keep, and Belle wants to use that keep for a one-shot.
Yeah, I want to run the OG basic D&D module, Keep on the Borderlands, from it.
Can I have that map of the world?
Yes, map the world, maps and locations. I cleverly named it.
I'm really proud of the world that we've like put together. It's really nice.
But, there you go.
I am so I looked at it one time and went, holy shit, I want to run games in this world.
Yeah.
Like,
we have an entire political map. That's just what is where and who has what.
I fucking love that. So I have a question. Do you guys have a person that runs the Lone Keep, or do I get to decide that?
Are you
putting that small political power in my grubby little hand?
So technically, if I remember the political map, I don't have it on. I probably do have it on my computer, actually. I'll have to open up Clip Paint. I believe that is under the White Queen's power.
Yeah.
Like, the land is split into 3 different political powers. So it's the White Queen, the Red Queen, and the neutral territory, which the Autumn Queen in the Enchanted Forest ensures you guys don't fuck up and keeps everything fair and square.
So my question is how does the political structure of the White Queen's court work? Because I was thinking like a small baron of some sort, or like an alderman to run the keep, because it's like Lone Keeps like that. Fortresses essentially are run by like, or a knight of some kind could run it. I totally wasn't just gonna use the Green Knight at all. That's not at all what I was planning.
It is like barons, So there is a baron or a burgomaster that all go to the White Queen for like, the higher political gain. Like, hey, I need some of this and this from this territory. Can you provide us like food, rations, military if need be? The White Queen, I don't know the actual terms because government is stupid to me and I don't grasp it.
Yep.
But the White Queen's king or part of the territory is the church. The church kind of runs the power.
Oh, so it's a theocracy.
Yeah, and then the Red Queen runs it like a military. militaristic.
Okay, so that's an oligarchy. Okay.
Yeah. And that's how they kind of like run their territory, and then the Autumn Queen is just complete neutrality, and it's just like, don't fuck things up.
Yeah. So a suggestion, because a lot of theocracies work on the feudal system. For smaller territories like the Lone Keep, knights used to just have those. Like a knight would run it. Like they wouldn't even have like an alderman or a burgomaster. It would just be one lone knight. This is their keep. Because a lot of the time that's how old retired adventurers were rewarded. And I think it would be really cool to have like an old cavalier that runs this very, because the way the keep is like the rules of the keep are structured, essentially is like when inside the keep, weapons are sheathed, shields remain on your back, arrows are in the quivers, spells are not allowed to be cast within the keep unless they're healing spells, etc., etc. Like, I like the idea of this guy is tired of the bullshit because they've been through all of it, and he just wants a quiet, retired life where he can let adventurers live in his little fort. And instead of having to bug the queen for military assistance, just, hey, if you guys do this, I'll pay you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm trying to find my political map. I don't think it is. It might be on my hard drive, actually. With all
I think
my
Abby
old
knows,
stuff.
like, 'cause I know a good bit. I know a little bit about the White Queen. However, I think my brain sort of went and looked at the Red Queen and went, I love a fucked up queen who's like, no, I'm gonna make travel as hard as possible for you. Okay, thanks. Heart emoji. Heart emoji. Heart emoji. It sucks, but I love her so much.
So I'm gonna post a couple of images in No Mic where you guys can kind of see, because the Keep on the Borderlands has some updated, like the module I want to run with the Lone Keep. There are a couple of updated images that are available for like what the fort looks like how it's structured. So I might find a way to update these something similar to these images. I don't want to steal other people's artwork. But the first image is like from the module, which I've bought, so I am going to use that. But the other one is off of Google. But that's kind of what the keep is structured like, as far as like for the module, and I'm really excited to run it. I'm really excited to run in your game.
Ooh, yeah.
So with that in mind, and looking at the Lone Keep on the map specifically, it looks like at least some part of the keep is going to be put up right up against the mountains, like itself.
Yeah, so like where the Bailey is, the like back Bailey, where the actual Green Knight would be living, because that's who I'm using as the main like the person who owns the key or is in charge of the keep. Where the Green Knight would be living would be built into the mountains. Or at least that's kind of how I saw it on the map.
Yeah,
if that's okay with you guys.
Oh yeah.
Because you guys are, the ones who ultimately make those decisions.
I
didn't mean to cut you off, Jess.
No.
There you go. Oh.
I am also planning. I don't know how much Arthurian bullshit you guys have in your world, but I am going to inject a little bit of it, because those are the fairy tales I grew up on. Were like the King Arthur myths, the like Irish folklore, English folklore, stuff like that. And I really like that, and like Tales of Robin Hood, which makes me really fucking happy about Sherwood Forest.
Yeah.
And so so I am very excited for that specifically, and kind of incorporating that into.
Yeah, like I have the Lady of the Lake. That was absolutely something
Yeah.
that Celeste suggested that I should add into the setting. Originally, I was going to have either uh, Merlin or LaFay. What's her surname? First name?
Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah, I was gonna have
Morgan.
them in the Curse of Strahd game because spoilers for Curse of Strahd. There is a mad mage. There's a person who's gone mad. So I was going to change that and have them be one of those two characters. And then I decided everyone in the game has cracked the code. I did basically Ada Clawthorn from the Owl House is my mad mage. And she is the Witch of the Mountains. And she is also
Can I make a
the Rock.
suggestion?
Yes.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. So, you know how you have the gloaming where a magical war happened, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What if Merlin is... What if you did have Merlin in your world, but he's dead because he overcast at some point and massive fucking crystals because he was a massively powerful wizard? Or druid, because Merlin was originally a druid.
Yeah, he was gonna be. I talked. This is with my my ex was helping me also build this character, and he was gonna be a Cambion, because in lore,
Oh, I love that.
that's what he was. So he was just gonna be like a very like chaotic force. And there's a bunch of TikToks that we saw where, because you know, Mad Mage over time, like power grows to you, and you just get a little loopy with power. So he was gonna be very like a joke type of character for the Mad Mage.
I mean, so that would not break Merlin's lore at all. So one thing that a lot of people don't talk about Merlin specifically as a character is he used to go into Arthur's court disguised as other people, and like everybody knew it was Merlin. Like the knights just were like, play along. Arthur was a fucking himbo and did not realize it was Merlin ever.
Yes.
But the knights were like, yeah, it's just Merlin. Just let it happen. Oh god, I love that. So him being a jokey character, fucking wonderful.
Do we want lore wise to have him already be dead? Interesting.
Or instead of dead, we could go with a Avatar: The Last Airbender style, where he's just trapped in the crystals.
Okay, so he's like, it could have been before he fully overcasted and killed himself. He probably did. It's a 9th level spell. I think it's imprisonment. Imprison?
Yeah.
I already have. There's another thing in this world is also under the spell, and along with sequester. So if like something happens, then the imprisonment will break.
Yeah. Because that would also go with the lore of Merlin, because he is sleeping until he is needed for England again, as part of his thing.
And I explained because Frozen also asked questions about the gloaming, and I was like, yeah, that is a complete dead zone of magic up until you you flick a crystal of one of the many dead soldiers who just overcasted during the war. And then it's just wild magic surge after wild magic surge. So if you break it, it's very bad news bears. And
imagine someone standing from a distance and just throwing a rock.
Yeah, and then it's just like, you just watch a bunch of like trees turn into like small plotted plants for a couple minutes, and then they go back to normal. It's very fun for like, the kids who live in the city, I think it's Fona, that's right next to it, who probably don't have a lot of magical powers. These are going to be like your basic rogues and your fighters, or like the classes that have very minute spellcasting blood hunters, beast hearts. If we ever do the dragon rider thing and we finish writing that, they would probably be there. And then they leave the gloaming center, and then they just get hit with a wave of like magic, and they're probably very more attuned to magic, like knowing like, oh, this is a little spicy magic that we are walking into. Something's a little fucked up here.
A little fucky-wucky.
Just a little fucky.
Little fucky wucky.
Imagine growing up in Fona and you're like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of just crystals on the ground. You can hit them with rocks for fun. You can try.
You can certainly try. That is my favorite saying ever to say to any like players. You can certainly try.
Mm-hmm. But I think it would
Just
probably
as a DM, I like scaring my players that way.
Oh, what is it? What is the thing that I do? Oh, I tell them to like, do you want to open this sexy, sexy door that is over here? And then they all go like, what makes the door sexy? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you should open it and see.
Right?
That's the way. Except Abby's like, I really want them to go in here. Abby just has to go. It's kind of sexy, to be honest. Should check it out.
Yeah. Abby, I'm excited to play in your game because it's gonna be very fun.
Yes.
With you DMing for me, that's gonna be fucking great.
As I tell people, I'm very loosey-goosey. I will allow you guys to make up shit and be like, can I use this ability for this asinine reasoning? And I'll be like, yeah, roll for it. Sure, why not? If you fuck up,
when you bust out a
oopsie.
skill challenge.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because I think at one point, Lynx asked to be like, it was like an acrobatics, like you had to dodge some chains and stuff like that. And everyone succeeded, but Lynx was playing a paladin at the time and dump decks. And she didn't want to take damage because she was the tank. So she was like, can I brute force athletics this? And I'm like, you could try? Sure. The DC is just going to be a little bit higher for you because you're doing it in a different way than what I had intended, but go for it. Yeah. So Lynx is like one of those players who will ask you to like, could I use this skill to do this instead of that other skill you pitched? And I'll be like, sure. Okay. The DC might change though, just depending on like, you know, what we're running.
Yeah.
And like
I love that.
What is it for spellcasters? I don't care what, like, if you want to play a charisma, like you want to have charisma as your spellcasting modifier for being a cleric because you're persuading your god to give you power, sure, go for it. I don't care. It doesn't really break the game, I don't think. So like, go for it. Because like Ven pitched was like, can I be a wisdom-based sorcerer character? As like, I am watching everyone in the party cast magic and I'm learning them through like movements and tactics and feelings versus charisma. And I'm like, sure. And Creepy's playing a wisdom warlock instead of intelligence and charisma. Like the other bozos.
Oh, that's dope.
That's great.
That part, our Curse of Shroud party also has no wisdom at all. But that's okay. Who needs wisdom? Me, I need it. I like my wisdom-based classes.
Look, I had two ideas for a Curse of Strahd character, because, like, as much as I love playing my tiny little halfling, I also have a Battle Master fighter I have not gotten to play yet. And there's, a lot of people, or a lot of the time, when I choose characters, I like to do, like, a lot of, like, I think a Battle Master fighter should be an intelligence-based fighter.
Yeah.
Personally.
It makes sense, yeah.
Because,
like, tactically
because
wise.
they are, they're working with tactics, and they should be able to, add their fucking intelligence modifier or their strength modifier, in my opinion, depending on the situation. Maybe not always, but sometimes they should have an ability to add their intelligence modifier because they are thinking tactically. That's like the tactician Pathfinder archetype for fighter. I let the tactician fighters use their intelligence modifier because they are the tactician.
Yes. That is what the talent trees have. It gives you like the battle maneuvers feature that you can pick up as like a fighting style for fighters if you go down the history like tree. So you can eventually get like tactician, and then it's like you pick up one of the battle master maneuvers and you can swap them out after a long rest. And it's really cool, but they make it like you have to invest into this intelligence skill in order to unlock this.
Yeah. That makes sense.
A lot of people pick it when they're making like characters who are, tacticians or good on the battlefield. So like I've seen a bunch of paladins do it. I almost had my ranger pick up on it because at one point, Stella's gonna run a political like, the kingdom has fallen, and we're all playing characters that are part of this kingdom that fell. And I was one of the princesses.
Oh, I like that.
Like, the other character was like it was twin princesses basically, and one person. I was like the ranger character, as more of like I did not like being in the walls of the castle. I liked being outside, learning how to hunt, like learning actual people skills and hunting skills versus like the bullshit political stuff. And then the other person was like the political character.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I really do. It's really fucking cool.
I shall think of... I have to think of a tattletale tiefling name for a bodyguard. Yeah. I'll figure it out. My DM brain is not thinking of namesakes unless... Okay, Vic's gonna start thinking of some. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I did do the hex crawl. Like, if anyone logs now into Roll20, the map is now in like a hex crawl kind of like situation. And I'm like, yes, it does look kinda sexy. And one day there will be like a West March style game. But I have the brain space to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you ever need help with a West March style game, I will tell you it's a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Like it is a lot. I've been running this one for what, 4 months now? I know it was before my surgery, and it has encompassed every, like, when I have free time to do DM stuff, it is all I do.
Yes.
I have 120, like I have a almost 2 gigabyte folder of just dungeon maps that I've made.
Yeah.
So if you guys, and I've made random encounter tables, I've made random NPC tables, and that's a big thing that I suggest doing when you do a West March style game, because a lot of it is randomized, or at least it can be. Because West March as a style, if you try to do an overarching plot, which, you know, I've kind of done, I foreshadowed the war thing months ago with there was a quest where you had to go and kill a pack of hyenas that were kidnapping people on the road or whatever.
Yes.
And that's where Swiftfang first came in. Swiftfang, the Knoll leader. And so you guys mopped the floor with him, and then he came back to life and left after you guys left in like a little cutscene. That's the leader that declared war on Reckford.
Yeah.
I foreshadowed that months ago. And like, it's not that you can't have an overarching plot. It's that if you're gonna, it takes a lot of
A
work
lot of
with how much.
investigation, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work and a lot of leading your players, and without making it seem like they're railroaded, which is wonderful in a way that, like, that's kind of why I have on each random encounter table, kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit. On each random encounter table, I have a thing. It's like a 6 on the low level party, a 5 on the mid level party, and a 8 on the high level party. Encounter tables. Where you find an overturned cart with like a Wreckford scout or a beaten up kobold, or some goblins that got their asses handed to them, and they kind of give you information about if you go here, there's an ancient temple that there's some gnolls inside that they're doing XYZ thing.
Yeah.
So if you get that on the random encounter table, you can kind of learn what the gnolls are up to. But nobody's rolled that. Y'all have all rolled fucking fated beasts so many times where it's like, you could fight this giant monster or die.
Exactly.
Listen, if things had played out differently, Midas would have tried to fight that big that dragon and
The
lost.
black dragon, yeah. And absolutely fucking lost. And while Midas most of the time reconstitutes, fighting a black dragon, your ink would have been melted by the acid. You'd have been dead. Dead.
Yeah.
It's
That's figured.
Yeah, like I have an idea where I would start it out, but my idea is like, and this is what, because I was offhandedly talking about, like when I pitched that I was like, I think about doing a Westmarch style eventually for Sylvestris, and you were encouraging me, so I told that to Celeste, and that's what was like, easy. I can fix my Gaul premise idea and make it Westmarch style. And then she started pitching it, and I was like, babe, we need to think it through. And she just got so excited, she started telling everyone, like, yes, this is our plans.
Well, with the Gaul thing, that's
bozos.
absolutely of it. Like, that can absolutely work the same way. And if Celeste ever needs help with that, I'm down to help whoever's willing to play. I love helping with D&D campaigns.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, because it's so much fun.
Yeah, we've been talking out of, like, whenever we have the brain space or, like, it just pops in our head, we'll start talking about, like, oh, how is this gonna work between, like, two parties and, two parties that are interchanging with each other? Like, if we had 12 players, like, how is this greater plot gonna work with 12 players? And how is it gonna feel fair for those 12 players? Because, like, the idea was, like, someone gets to be the Jarl of a keep. And it's like, okay, so one person out of the 12 gets to be the Jarl. How are we going to make it fair for the other 11? And then we start talking about, like,
I have a pitch for that.
Yeah.
So, if you go back to basic D&D, like OG basic D&D, when you leveled, you got a title. I can actually tell you what they are. Give me 1 second. I have the book. I'm old. I have the basic D&D set in my hand.
Yeah, Celeste has it in her closet. Or in our closet.
Wonderful. Hell yeah. So, like, each class got, like, a set of titles you could give. So what you could do is, with one person having the earldom, you could have, like, let's say you've got a fighter, which with the Gaul campaign, that's my character will be. That character could have several titles like veteran, swordmaster, myrmidon, stuff like that. And like those titles could be make it a little more fair as far as like, oh, this character did this with the Jarl, so they got this title to go along with this person. And that could work where they get better titles or higher station as they get stronger. I know me personally, I was going to say I didn't want to be the Jarl as far as that's concerned, because I'm going to play in that game, and I don't want to be the Jarl. I don't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
That's just how I work. I would rather be, like I said in the book, a Myrmidon, which is a mercenary. The Myrmidons were just a little historical where that title comes from. They were the personal army of Achilles, and they were hireable. Yes. They sailed black sails and fucked anybody up they came across, and then they went to Troy.
Yes.
But I think that could be a good way to do it. Or there's also Matt Colville's Followers and Strongholds. It's a very good example of like how to do titles for characters. Fantastic resource, especially if you're using 5e.
Yeah, that's what she's got the book, like the physical book for Strongholds and Followers. She's got both of them, so that's what she wants to use for it. And we were talking about it, and like at first she was pitching like that's the first thing we do, and then I was like, no, we need to build up to the keep, and she's like, gotcha. So like that's what we've been talking on the side.
So what? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is building up to getting the keep, because if you have that little adventure of claiming the deed blade, or I believe that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, yep.
Claiming the deed blade, that little adventure, that is a way to hook players. That is a fantastic way to hook players. And it could also make it kind of a more fair way to choose the Jarl, because whoever gets like the killing blow on whatever has the deed blade to begin with becomes Jarl.
Yeah. It's behind the curtain, it's like a person who's worthy kind of ordeal.
Yeah.
Like whoever is worthy gets the item kind of ordeal. It's not gonna be like, oh, when everyone's back is turned, the rogue like sleight of hand and picks it up. Therefore, they're the Jarl.
So
it's like no.
It's like a what is it called? Excalibur type deal.
Yes. Yeah.
Excalibur chooses its own destiny.
But yeah, that's what we were thinking. And then I know I have a town or a city in my setting, or in our setting, called Hebrook, which is basically, because it is close to, it's in the mountains and it's close to the Enchanted Woods, which is home to a lot of dangerous fey creatures, like fey beasts, monsters, and what have you.
Yeah.
So there's like a hunting guild, or like a monster hunter guild, where it's like, hey, I need someone to go into the forest or like protect the town from like being overrun by like, I don't want to say pixies, but like we have like these sentry canine beasts that will just sometimes like leave the woods and just cause havoc, or something that's dark and gloomy. There could be some owl bears, what have you. And it's just like the Monster Hunter Guild is like, I need you to take care of it.
Yeah.
And that's where Geppetto is. If anyone wants to be an artificer and wants to learn to be one, awesome. Geppetto's there.
That's fucking wonderful. So is Pinocchio a lore character?
Yes, Pinocchio is a lore character. Pinocchio is a Warforge.
That's
somewhere in the world. I might change him because there is a PDF book called Grim Hollow, which makes, it's to play for a Grimmer. I love Grim Hollow. Yeah, so to play for a Grimmer settings, and it's got like the transformations in that book, which I like to use for our games. And it also has a race called Weshelkind, which are little marionette puppets that look like little kids. So I might change him to be a Weshelkind. And it's just like this little boy who
That's dope.
got replaced with a changeling, a hag, or maybe was cursed to be, like similar to Pinocchio, was cursed to be a young boy, or like a wooden puppet forever. He couldn't be a young boy, and so bada bing, bada boom, Weshelkind. That Geppetto accidentally activated.
Now you've got a little guy, a little boy.
I got a son,
He's
and I
like
love him.
my son.
Yeah.
I
Reineke, which is Hollow's Jester's character's patron is based off of the fox from Pinocchio. Hence why he is kind of evil. But Hollow's fine. He just wants you to do pranks, tricks.
Evil patrons are wonderful.
Yeah.
That's fine. He wants to do pranks, and he also wants to micromanage break-ins.
I mean, you know, it is what it is. My god of travel and trade, Trog, also very fucking evil. Yeah. Like, people haven't seen it yet, but he's an evil bastard.
Yeah, Reineke is Reineke is like the equivalent of like he's lawful evil, so he does understand that there are some things he cannot cross because Fey wording and what have you, and he's like, well, technically you can't steal a name from someone, but like if we go ask another Fey and then we steal their and we ask them to steal this name and then they give us that name, then technically we stole it in the end. But in all technicalities, the Fae stole it. Yep. What was a situation I told, like if Hollow ever had to do a break-in into a building and like fails a lock-picking check, he would absolutely be like, all right, I'm gonna let you borrow silence. So what you're gonna do is you are going to cast silence on the window and then you're just gonna Eldritch Blast it. Those fools can't hear you. You're fine. And bam, you're in the room.
They're not gonna see the broken glass eventually and see something's gone awry.
That's why you also have that's why you also find the cantrip mending, or the cantrip mending. It's silence, silence, break glass, enter the building, mend the glass, get what you need, break it again, mend it again,
mend it, and then leave. But that's what he's constantly going to be doing to Hollow when, like, Hollow fails a thing, or is, like, you know, you're running from, like, a guard captain. He's going to be like, all you gotta do is just kill him. He's the only person who saw you. So if you kill him, and then we destroy the body so they can't cast Speak with Dead with, we're fine. Those bozos have to use high-level resurrection magic to make this guy talk again. No one knows that. I know it, but they don't know it, so you're fine. Kill him.
I had a player that was kind of like that, where they were like, oh yeah, no, the spell they used was the one that ages you until you're dust. And they were like, yeah, no, nobody else saw me, and just ages the fucking guard captain to death.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he just turns to dust.
Yeah, like Reineke
and
would
now they're
tell
the most
you,
powerful
like,
necromancer in my world.
Yeah, Reineke would absolutely be like, just take his head. If we take the head with us, they can't cast Speak with Dead. We're fine. Golden. They'll never find us.
Yeah, take the head, like, put it on a pike, and burn it.
Yeah, versus, like, Iris, who is playing Dorcha, who has, like, this very quizzical patron from, like, the Astral Sea, who just wants to learn things. So it's like if Dorcha asks, like, hey, what does this mean? Or can you tell me what this means? And then the patron will just, like, go silent and then go research and then come back, and it's a little bigger. So I told Iris, is like, eventually your patron is going to be the size of a house by, like, all the knowledge it is observing and learning through your party and what you ask of it.
That's fucking wonderful, and I love that.
I'm just trying to imagine. It's like, yeah, no, take your heads. There's no way they can talk to them then. This little raccoon, like, what the fuck? Where am I gonna put a head? Am I just gonna shove it in my bag and run off with it?
Okay, plan B. Plan B. We go steal a bag of holding. Then we come back, take his head, throw it in the bag of holding. They'll never know. It's on a different plane of existence. Foolproof. But yeah, I have Reineke, and then I have the cat that is also in Pinocchio, Madagot, as also a spirit of, like, felines. And it's also gonna be a little bit... Puss in Boots is gonna be its own character, but there's gonna be similar qualities to Madagot with Puss in Boots, where it's gonna be like, yes, I am the chosen feline of power, and then Puss in Boots comes over and he's like, no, you're not, stop impersonating me, stop it. I know you were technically more powerful than me, but
Fucking love
stop.
that. I fucking love that.
Yeah. Like, I came up with a bunch of spirits that are... Because, you know, fables are very prominent also in folklores and stuff. So I wanted to get animal spirits that represent, like, a personality or, like an ideology, and then have them be, like, little trickster spirits.
That's
So,
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I am so excited to play in this world that y'all have cooked up. It's going to be amazing to be able to just fucking enjoy this world that you've fucking invented and invested so much time in.
It really is so good. It's been a passion project for how long?
5 years, I think. I had a server dedicated for Jester and I to, like, make world building things, and then it ended up becoming a friend server. And then we made a different friend server, and I was just like, we don't need 2 friend servers. All of our friends are in the other server, so I'm just gonna delete everything. But I saved all the Sylvestra stuff, and then watching Celeste play and, like, run different games made me go, like, oh, I should make a setting, or I should go back to that old setting I was thinking about and, like, enrich it more so people can actually play in that setting. And then I ran, what's it called? Oh, it's the one in the mountains. Rhyme of something.
Rhyme of the Frost Maiden?
Rhyme of the Frost Maiden.
Yes, thank you. I have that book. I got it as a like a birthday present from one of my exes, and she encouraged to put Rhyme of the Frost Maiden, because it's just like a mountainous town and what have you. She's like, put it in your setting. And I'm like, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. So, like, on the map, I think it's...
of those where I've just put them in my setting.
Yeah. So, like, on the map, Mount Phosphor, that is where Rhyme of the Frost Maiden is.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the
really
White
love
Queen
the little
inherently... What'd you say?
So I love the little guy I played for Rhyme of the Frost Maiden. It was very fun.
Yeah. I'll one day go back to it. Rhyme of the Frost Maiden had a lot of, towards the end of the module, it gets a little, illithid heavy and alien, and had a bunch of, like, technology. And I don't like mind flayers. I don't like illithids at all. It's just, they're gross because they do the little parasite thing, and that goes in your body, and then it destroys you, and it pops up. Like, there's a whole thing in Rhyme of the Frost Maiden where you come across a person who is infected, or the book suggests that one of the players is a ticking time bomb, and they have the parasite in them, and at some point it's going to activate and kill the character. And I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like this. This is kind of gross.
I'm so sorry, bestie, because one of the overarching plots of that is coming in Arc 2 is all illithid.
Yeah. I don't like
I am so
as long as we don't go too heavy in, like, the body horror that is in there, I'm just like, that's fine.
So I'm using the illithid as these are unequivocally evil creatures that you can feel good about murdering, kind of situation. Because I've come across this problem where certain players have been like, oh, well, why are these monsters or these enemies seen as evil? And I'm just like, please just wait and see. And so if I come up with kind of a this is how it works, and unequivocally evil race, I can just kind of put them places and not have to worry about this. And like I love players who question that, but when it's a constant, okay, this encounter was not meant to be diplomacy. That's when I start going from where I'm having a lot of fun watching you guys kind of work your way through the world, and then going from, okay, but also I just explained that this guy's possessed by a demon, and that that's not actually the person. He's a demon. Kill him. Like,
Yeah. Like, this character is not representing the whole entire race. Like, we're not saying,
group.
yes, this race is evil. That's the bad thing. That's the thing we want to avoid with. It's just this one particular character, which could happen in all races and all different diversities.
This small group is a fucking bad person and they need to die.
Yeah.
Kind of stinky.
Yeah. That's always like a tightrope you have to be careful walking on.
Yeah, exactly. So you were talking about how long this has been a passion project. Let me I'm gonna send you specifically the first digital image ever made for UEs. I made this when I was 14.
Yeah,
so
I remember you
don't
talking
judge
about
how cringe it is. Don't judge how cringe this is. But I made this in MS Paint.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't
So
start
this was
Jester and I didn't start D&D till about like 2015, 2016. I want to say.
Well, originally this was not meant for D&D. That's not what I made this world for. I was going to write a book.
Yeah.
When I was young, I did short stories, and I would write them in this world that was magical and fantastical, but I didn't have a name for it. And this is the fucking first product of me trying to make it. And then I took this image that I've sent you in DMs and I drew it. But I was like, maybe if I added some like standard fantasy races to it, would it happen if I added like halflings, or because I love halflings, humans and elves and things. And I don't know if I've ever sent you a picture of it, but I have the physical like map of UEs drawn on a piece of, I think it's 4x3 poster board, and it is framed on my wall.
Yeah.
And it is I drew it while I was waiting for my kid to be born. And that was when it became a D&D setting. So that was around 2014.
Okay. I'm trying to
because
think.
before that I was playing in Mystara, which was the original, like the OG basic D&D world. That's why originally, before I made my own Pantheon, I was using the Mystara gods.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that was probably the hardest thing that I had to think about. Oh, going to Jester, it was just like gods. We need gods. Because I'm not using any of like I did have because of the Rime of the Frost Maiden, I had the two drow queens, Saline and or Saloon, and the other one, whose name, the evil one that everyone's like, oh yes, all drow are evil. Yeah, Lolth. I had both of those into my on my god divinity for a bit, because Jester was playing a drow, and I had another player who was playing a drow, and they both came from two different drow communities. Whereas, so they kind of be like, yeah, I support Saline, and then I support Lolth. And then one of them had the patron, or had Lolth be their patron as a warlock, and I was like, ah, yes. And then I deleted them because I was like, no, I don't want any Wizards of the Coast bullshit on my stuff. I want this to be all unique and different and cool. The Raven Queen was the other one I had.
There are a few things that I really like. The Raven Queen's a really good one. And like there's he's a TSR product, because though Wizards owns the rights to basic D&D, they don't own the rights to Saint Cuthbert, because he is technically an actual saint. So technically the Vatican owns.
Okay, yeah.
But so I did originally, Saint Cuthbert was a person in UEs. He was not a god per se, but he had a cult dedicated to him. It was him Bahamut exists within my setting, but he's not a god. He's a demigod.
Yeah.
And then who else did I steal from Mystara? Sahanin Moonbow, which is an elven patron, is a living, what is known as a living elder one, and the elder ones are like my setting's patrons for warlocks
Okay,
and
gotcha.
shit.
Yeah.
So I did steal a couple of things, but those are now I completely retconned their names, and they are different
Yeah.
people. But if you know, if you've ever looked into like Mystara's pantheon, and you meet these characters, you're like, I know who the fuck that was inspired by.
Yeah. Yeah, similarities, yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's the put the things you like in your games.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the like way I see it, essentially.
Yeah, I think I have the things because I kept the 4 courts for the Feywild that they typically have in D&D culture, but instead those courts no longer exist because after the war, the Fey decided, okay, we'll play your game and we'll be all on even ground. So we are gonna like de-establish our courts, and it's kind of hard to keep a court when 2 of your gods, or 2 of like the Summer Queen and the Winter Queen, decide to become gods. So there's no Summer Court and there's no Winter Court because they're gods now. And the Autumn Queen, which is the equivalent of Maleficent or Volsiri in my game, or in the game, she's dead. Dead with air quotes.
Yep, very heavy
so,
air quotes for dead.
Yeah, very heavy. For those, her title, her Fey title, like not her Fey name, but her title, the thing that she represents, is a never-ending story. Therefore, she cannot die because her story never ends. Volsiri is unfortunate. Who is that?
I had to. It's a joke on the Neverending Story title because the movie Neverending Story, of course, the dragon from that movie.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Oh my god!
I've never seen it either.
Ooh! I know what we need to do, besties.
Y'all
and I need to watch Neverending Story. It's gonna fuck you up. It's
Wait.
I've seen Yes, I've seen pictures of this. Like, I'm looking at it right now, but I've never actually watched it.
Yeah.
Is it the one where there's the swing on the tree over the like water, and something happens there?
No, that's the Bridge of Terabithia.
Yes, that's the other incredibly sad movie.
Yeah, that's the Bridge of Terabithia. Here, I'll grab pictures. It might look familiar to you, Jess. I'm unsure.
I think my mom has seen it before, but I haven't.
Neverending Story is one of those movies that when I was a child fucked me all the way up. It's also one of the movies that got me into fantasy.
Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my mom's seen this, but I haven't.
Yeah, I feel like this is my parents' kind of... They tried to get me to watch it, and I showed no interest in it when I was, like, a baby. When I was young. And I was really attached to all the animal movies and the Land Before Time series. I was obsessed.
I feel really old now, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you are. You're just, you're not that much older than me, but you're still older than me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm 2 years old. 2 years too old to be 2 years too young to have been born in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was born right at the end of the 90s.
Ooh.
Which was a wild time.
It
because,
was.
Like growing up, I remember. Fuck, that was a bad move. I remember distinctly, like, when like you had your computers, but you had your computers, but you couldn't use the internet if someone else was on the phone. So you had to
Yes,
kind of get off
dial-up.
the phone.
Yes, dial-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I too remember dial-up. I remember teaching my great-grandmother to use broadband internet. Oh,
But
Trying to see
one
when
of my
did this
favorite
movie
parts-
come out. Sorry, keep
While
going.
you
I'm
do
talking to
that-
myself.
Oh, you're good. One of my favorite parts, I think, when I was making the world with Abby, was like, you were talking. You know, you have your Red Queen, who's like pretty, like, you know, like the religious part of it all. And so the Red Queen, what really intrigued me was like when we talked about. So if you look on the map here, all the way down there where Dawn Point
yes.
is like a very well reputed like magic school. And so travel there, I can't remember what we talked about, but travel to there was like you can't bring any weapons, or if you need to have a permit if you're bringing any weapons. There's like a long list of things. It's like for the fantasy TSA essentially, but I just thought it was like really exciting that like I just thought it was like really exciting to talk about like how an island that's like so recluse handles travelers going in and out, and what's allowed to go there and what's allowed to leave there. And it's just like really interesting to me, to be honest.
Oh no, absolutely. That sounds fucking dope.
Yeah, because I can't remember the exacts, but I do. There's like permits, right?
Yes. I'll go into it. Do we mind if the Blorbo listens in? I've turned off her Fuji on my end, so she's not going to show up on screen.
I mean, if Blorbo wants to join, I don't mind.
She's at work right now, unfortunately.
Okay.
I don't mind if she listens in.
Yeah, I don't mind either.
But, yeah. I remember,
yes.
like, adventurers traveling to the school, or, like, traveling there, you had to have, like, weapon permits, and you couldn't bring certain things with you, like, on the trip over.
It was gonna be customs, basically. Yeah, it was basically gonna be the equivalent of, like, TSA. Also, because at that point when we were discussing it, that is when Cell was running Curse of Strahd, and we got to Vallaki, and Vallaki is very TSA vibe-ish, where it's just like, we need your name, we need to know your race, we need to know any identifiers that you have. How many weapons do you have? What's on your person? What's the purpose of coming to into the city? And those kind of things. And I wanted to use that for Dawn Point because, yeah, it is that's where the Red Queen is located.
Yeah.
But it's also where the high prestige Magic Academy is, which doesn't have a name. I still have to think about it. Like, what do I want to call it? So because those two are there, they have to make it very, like, rule heavy on, like, visitors who are not like, citizens of Dawn Point. At one point I thought about, like, you had to have, like, a legal documentation to show that you can cast certain magic. So for a while, and I still think I want to do it. I think like Dawn Point just does not. Yeah, it's enchantment. Yes, you cannot cast any enchantment magic in Dawn Point without, like, the Crown's Guard coming for you and being like, "Why did you cast this spell?"
It's
like,
really...
you know, if a cleric tries to cast... Yeah, what was the purpose of the cleric casting Zone of Truth? Like, why are you doing that? What are you trying to get? Why did you come and get us to get information out of there? You should have gotten a permit, which you could come to us to get a permit in order to cast said spells.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I believe
the
at
Red
some
Queen's
point we
a-
talked about
Mhm.
like the island being very like you have to like the culture shock between the island and the rest of the world is you have to be very careful what you say because people go missing all the time after saying the wrong thing. I think it's something we talked about.
Well, yeah, because it's the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland. She's gonna have that fiery temper. She's going to be off with your head. She is.
But very subtly
is-
at this point.
Yeah, she is cruel and mean, but so like the Red and White Queen are very based off of Alice in Wonderland's the dichotomy of like a mean sister and a sister who is very kind and caring. But they're both kind of malicious in their own ways. They're both very high, powerful casters. So, Faith, the Red Queen, is a high, powerful wizard. And Lyriel, the White Queen, is a sorcerer. So, of course, they hate each other because of how they cast their magics. Because Faith is like, I had to learn how to use my magic, and you just inherit it? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, sister? And she's like, I'm sorry that I'm so perfect, and you just had to learn.
Damn, sucks to suck, I guess.
Yeah, okay. What did she say? Where somebody who's under the influence of enchantment magic is still susceptible to laws and punishment depending on their ability to resist. If you commit a crime under Gaius and you can't survive the spell, if you try to resist it or you kind of get pardoned. But if you could have resisted the spell, you're fully liable for your crimes despite it being done under duress. Yeah. So, Faith is just like, fuck your enchantment magics. Unless you have a permit, don't cast them here.
Yeah. Okay. That's actually pretty fucking dope.
Yeah, and then where Lyriel is, it's Ulrich. This was inspired by an acquaintance of ours. I no longer see them as a friend, unfortunately, who had a city in their homebrew setting that was dedicated to worshiping all the other gods. So, like, it had different districts where it would have, like, a shrine to insert god here. And that's where, like, the church influence kicks in. So, Ulrich is
I have
the
a city like that in my setting too.
Yeah. It's the city of gods and the city of the light because it's the closest city to the sun. All bless Haloriel and her beautiful bright nut light. Whereas Faith is just like, ew, gods, what have they done for us? Nothing. Haha.
What are they good for? Absolutely nothing.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, the city that we based off on, like, I think the idea was really neat as a concept. Like,
What a concept.
what a concept.
Well, that's the whole thing about homebrewing stuff and making your own worlds. You just take inspirations of like from other people and go like, I like that. Yoink, mine now.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you slap it together.
We're gonna have some tacos later. We're just little guys, little pals.
But I did change them. The queens were originally humans, and then I decided, oh, wouldn't it be fun if they were both hexbloods? Hence why their power has been so long, and a lot of people appreciate, like, a lot of citizens appreciate them because they represent both human mortals and fae, because they are like a hodgepodge of both of them.
Mhm.
So they're more well respected compared to their grandmother who started the war, all because Maleficent decided, I'm gonna curse your child.
Oh, shit.
Oopsie.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I was gonna say teacher, I raised my hand.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the midst of, like, preparing to say that, I'm trying to remember what the fuck I was gonna say. Where did it go? God, we were talking about...
I will say Maleficent in this game is more inspired off of the movie Maleficent that gave her more of a backstory that Angelina Jolie played in.
I love
where
that.
it's just like where she was a generally nice fae that got crossed by mortals. Hold on, I gotta raise the user limit for people. What does it look like? It's a sword. I know it's sweat.
It
Oh, it's a
does.
rag. Like you're dabbing yourself. Cease the violence, you make up.
I am glad that Cell got my reference.
God, what were you talking about, like the queens and stuff?
Mhm.
God, I really had a thing I wanted to bring up, and I can't remember it. Which really bites. Crap.
I know.
Shit, dude.
I know. When I
God.
introduced the queens and I was making their spell sheets, like their actual cards,
Mhm.
like their NPC stat blocks. I screenshot one spell from both of their character lists and I posted it in the Discord and everyone was like, hot, I'd let her do that. They both know power word kill.
I'd let her do that. I would let her do
Yeah.
that to me.
Yeah, both of these queens know power word kill. They're very powerful spellcasters. They had to work themselves to be this powerful in order to rule a queendom together. And just in case something bad happens, or the Auto Queen decides to fuck over the treaty and decides to declare war again. And it's like, we need some way to defend ourselves. Yeah, hand raised.
I raised my hand.
Yes, teach.
So remember
The
when
teacher
we were talking
thinks you.
about... Thank you. Can we talk about Ulrich and the secrets underneath it?
I don't think that is going to be a thing anymore. I think I'm gonna delete that.
You're gonna delete that one?
I think I'm gonna delete that. I don't know. I'm still...
And I was like, you're still on the fence
So-
about it?
Yeah, greater scheme, because I might delete this because there's a lot of other, like, factors that are in the setting right now. I wanted to have Ulrich built upon a slumbering great worm. Like a white or silver great worm that is just forever in slumber. And that is where Lyriel got her draconic sorcery, was from, like, just being in close proximity to this dragon. And if it ever came to an instance where the world was in trouble, Lyriel had the power to destroy Ulrich to wake up the slumbering dragon who would help fight.
Oh, I like
But
that.
I don't think I like it, but I don't know if I want to keep it. Per se, I might put it somewhere else in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
it's
want
an
the queen to
interesting
have
idea.
that power. Like right now, I have to develop. I want to do the Jack of the Beanstalk thing. So all of the giants just live in the clouds. They're not on land with everyone. You have to climb a beanstalk, and then you're in the land of giants. So I want
like
something
that a lot.
similar. Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, giants, like, it's hard to fit giants into a world without giving them their own area. Like, otherwise, giants would just take over fucking everything.
Yeah. So there's somewhere in the world where there's little boy Jack, who planted a bean and grew a beanstalk and went up there and talked to some giants and may have gotten yelled at by said giants. And don't worry, I will tell you, you guys will go to the land of giants in the game. There is an important item that you need to get that is in the land of giants. Is it the golden goose? Is it the golden egg? Is it the lyre or harp? I can't remember what musical instrument is it. Or is it something else? A child?
A child.
Imagine
A child.
POV, imagine you're like a giant, probably minding your own business. I imagine like most medium-sized creatures, or like, you know, like the regular little guys. I imagine it's like, who let ants in here? Why are they in here?
Yeah.
I just cleaned this place. Why are you on my floor? Get out of here!
Yeah, but it'd be like the equivalent of, like, you know, actual storm giants and what have you live up there. It's not like a little ogre.
Yeah.
or something like that. That's gonna be on like the material plane, and they're not like orcs and ogres are not evil in this game. Goblins are now fairy folk, like fae folk, so they represent an old court of mischief. So they're the little hee hee. I'm gonna cause troubles. I'm gonna make your socks wet. Ha ha ha.
I'm gonna do it on
Question.
purpose.
Yeah.
Question.
God.
How do you handle halflings in this setting?
Tieflings?
Because I have a halflings.
Oh,
Little
halflings.
guys. Yeah,
Little
because
guys.
halflings have a fae cousin called brownies.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they're called brownies.
I love
And they
brownies.
are mischievous fae spirits, and I love them so much.
I feel like they would be cousins to goblins. Not direct cousins, but like somewhere in that lineage, they're like a little bit, because like brownies would be like the centerpiece, and then it's like
Mhm.
it breaks off into goblins or halflings. I do
Okay.
know that I have brownies, pixies, and some fays are like the typical like if they want to have wings, they can guarantee to have wings because they are small trickster spirits or tiny trickster
Mhm.
spirits, and they need a means to quicklings. That's the other one that I'm thinking of. They need a means to escape, and so they have wings in order to fly away and move quicker so they can get out of harm's way, versus elder fays who don't have wings because they have the magical capabilities to fight back. Though powerful like archfays or certain types of fae. If like a character wants to have wings, I'm gonna let them have it. It's just not permanent. But like, if you ever meet an archfay, their wings are gonna be huge and resplendent to show the raw capability of how much magic they have in their body that is forced to be wings. Like, has to leave their body and then they just manifest into something greater.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Oh yeah, we
It's
talked.
like I pitched it. Yeah, like I pitched it to Vic if Vic wanted Hawthorne to be like to have changelings have wings if they wanted to. He said nah, and I'm like, fair enough. I just wanted to pitch it because Sel picked it for Chloe, though her wings are atrophied because she doesn't use them. It's like more of a station kind of ordeal. Like, yes, I am a very powerful spellcaster. Look at my wings. I don't know how to fly with them because I've never had to use them.
For decoration.
Yeah.
As opposed to having use.
People could do a call shot to harm like fairies' wings. It's gonna be very high DC, similar to like most call shots. But if you do, it kind of disrupts their magical flow a little bit. So like it's kind of like you give them the stun condition for their casting. Like they won't be able to cast for a certain amount of rounds because you just destroyed a part of their wings.
Okay.
This is why pixie dust is very important, and it is a illegal trade because you have to kind of crush a pixie's wings in order to get pixie dust. Or it has to be, you know, gifted from a pixie. Like, here is the dust that fell off of my wings so long ago. I'm giving it to you in the bag so you can learn how to fly. For like 2 minutes.
What did we talk about? What did we talk about would happen if like a fae or like a pixie like lost its wings? So I know we talked about it. I can't remember what we said on.
It is kind of like they're muted. Like you're ripping a part of their essence away from their body. So it's like a dramatic change in personality. Like you just took half of their soul with them. As like if you completely destroy, or if you're cruel and mean, rip their wings from their back. Some fae actually willingly try to lose their wings. And, like, yeah, it's gonna cut their magical prowess, and they might be similar to, like, how Barovia does Solus, where they're just kind of coasting on life, living, but they're not truly living because most of their personality is kind of shot. There might be bad guys you run into who have a collection of fairy wings in their wall, and they're sick fucks, and you have permission to kill them.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
hell
shit's kind
yeah.
of fucked up. That shit's fucked up for real, for real.
Oh yeah, no, that would be lots of death.
Yeah.
That'll be. Oh yeah, no. In a world where
like-
fae are common, it's
Mhm.
time to murder motherfuckers who hunt them.
Yes. And it's like during the Civil War, it was very common to do this practice, and then after the Civil War, it was like hey, we're not gonna do this anymore. I promise. Yada yada yada. Let's not do this anymore. But there's gonna be, those sick fucks who want power and control
Yeah.
over both mortal fae and dragons, and be like, if I have a pixie's wing, I have the most capable arcane magic in my hands right now. And I'm like, oh no, what would happen? Oh dear, I will never maim your characters unless you tell me in the DMs, like, do it. Hurt me. And I'm like, okay.
Abby looking at this group of friends is like, oh, this fucked up thing could happen? Eyeball emoji, oh no. Oh no, what if?
Oh no,
Yeah.
what if?
I'm a DM who likes to have permission to do these fucked up things to your characters, because, like, having it happen right out of left field and it turns out to be bad sucks. So I always go like, hey,
Yeah.
something bad's about to happen to your character. Be prepared. Or if, like, hey, I'm introducing a monster in the setting, it has an attack that could remove a limb. Are you okay losing a limb? And if so, what limb?
Which one would you like
Okay,
to
that makes yeah, that's dope.
Which one do you
'Cause,
want to
like,
lose if you had to lose one?
Like, Abby, I'm okay if, like, my character loses a leg or loses an arm. But when it comes to the eye, I'm like, no, you're not gonna hurt. Like, I don't want to think about, like, oh no, the eyeball explodes, squish, now I can only see out of one eye. Like, no. No, eyes are off the limit. You could scar me and give me cool, sexy scars, but you are not gonna let me lose my eye, because that's kind of gross. Or, like, a tongue or something
Yeah,
like that,
absolutely.
an ear. Because my mind is like, if I think this is gross, I'm going to ask my players how do they feel, so they also don't get grossed out or triggered in some case.
Yeah, absolutely, and that makes total sense.
It's really great, and I think communication is really important, especially when you have, like, enough people you're playing a game that can sometimes get a little messy or a little You go, hey, what don't you want to see? Like, for example, both Abby and Belle know, I don't like maggots. I think they're gross. And describing gross food tends to have, like, oh yeah, there's also those in there. And I'm like, no thanks. I'm good.
Yeah,
I like
that's why that and, like, spiders and things I've kind of completely eliminated from my world. Other than, like, the spider goddess, Shalara. I tend to not, like, describe things that I know my players are definitely against or definitely can't handle as far as, like, triggers go. Because, and I know a lot of old grognards, that'll go, oh, well, why? And I'm like, because it's about player happiness. I don't care that you want to run a dark, gritty game. You can do that without intentionally making your players uncomfortable.
I think the only exception I would be so cruel is if I ever have to cast Feeble Mind on someone. But I would ensure that if that spell was ever casted on someone, that there would be an easy way to fix it. Because, like, you don't want to play a character that's feeble-minded for, like, ever.
Yeah.
Or if, like... sometimes you need to have a bad guy who's got to invoke fear into your characters, and if they're really testing the limits, or they're like, what you gonna do, stab me? I'm like, yeah, the bad guy's gonna stab you because you provoked it, you idiot. I'm not gonna let you go, haha, fuck me, Strahd. Strahd's gonna kill you.
He's gonna fight you. I'm a silly little goofy little guy. However, when I go hee hee, I make joke about the big bad. I don't expect, if I ever said that in universe, to go utterly unpunished or have something just not happen.
When whenever Jester in Curse of Strahd goes like like purposely antagonizes the creatures we're fighting, I'm like, okay, they're coming for you, and then Jester gets knocked unconscious, and then all the other players are like, you idiot, what are you doing? And then they have to cast like Healing Word on. It's not this iteration of Curse of Strahd, it was the last iteration where Lottie was a monk. And it's like, yeah, I have to be right in front, and I gotta punch things in order to, like, do my job. So therefore, I'm the Gish, like, frontliner, and then would go unconscious, and then Irina in the back would be like, you idiot, stop going unconscious, and then would cast, like, Healing Word to bring Lottie back up.
Yeah, like, why are you doing this? Please stop.
So, like, yeah, sometimes I make hee-hee a little bit, sometimes I make hee-hee dumb decision. However, I'm not gonna be, how dare you not let me get away with making a stupid bad decision, you know? It doesn't make sense for people to be like, what? But that was just, it's like, no. I know the consequences when I make the hee-hee funnies. But I don't do it too often to where it's annoying. Or at least I try not to.
Yeah. But it's like, oh no, I'm gonna steal this very powerful artifact. No one else is gonna see us. And then it's like, you know, the big bad's around the corner and sees you take the powerful artifact. You're gonna get fucked. Unless you can escape quickly. And sometimes players don't want to run when it's the obvious option, like, you need to run from this encounter. They never run. I've learned this. They try to fight it.
Yeah, they never run. That's always, it's always a bad idea.
And then they get their ass kicked. And then they think, after, like, what, 2 people go unconscious, then they're like, oh shit, we need to run. And I'm like, guys, it's, like, too late. It's too late. You've really pissed off this bad guy. Stay with it.
Yeah, at this point, what is the point of running? You're gonna die.
Yeah. Like, right now, in Curse of Strahd game, they are about to fight something that is basically a deadly encounter. Just based on the vibes I'm getting, and everyone's agreeing to this. And I'm like, I had 3 options in this town. It's like, okay, they could solve this diplomatically. They could hit the trigger button of, oh shit, oh no, I'm fucked. Or they can do the small things and then just leave town. Immediately they all go, oh shit, oh fuck, I'm hitting the button. So I'm panic leveling them up so they don't die at level 4.
Oh yeah,
they're now level 5. So
you have no idea. You have no idea how many times people have, like, signed up for quests in the Westmarch game where it's like, I'm this level 3 character going into what is a level 9 quest. And I've had to go, oh god, and panic balance.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, this all started, the oh shit, oh fuck, oh god button, which what that got set off was because I was like, oh, I had a weird dream. I'm gonna talk to the people who know Barovia. And then slowly it evolved from, you know, realization, and then, oh, you see the flower, like, you see the flowers, and then, wait a minute, and then, like, connecting dots, and then eventually it's like, small domino. Lottie wants to talk about having a bad dream. Big domino. Big bad fight that might kill you.
I told Celeste, like, the breakdown of the fight, because I was afraid I was going to kill you guys, and she was like, no, do it. I don't care if it's a deadly encounter, because I have, like, what I do as a DM is if it's an unwinnable or unfair encounter that's going to happen, I have, like, if this character goes unconscious, or if the party is at half health, or most of the party is unconscious, this scene happens that will kind of save their asses. So they don't, it's not a huge TPK moment, because it's like, this was a solution, this was a thing that they triggered too early, and I'm not going to punish them for it. So, like, in one game, I had, in the Rise of the Frost Maiden, if Jester's character went down, or Amanda's character went down, the 2 drows, something would happen. The dryad, or the druid, that basically modified memoried Jester's character, so they did not remember all of the horror that happened to them, would show up and save the day. Or it would be your patron for the other character, who was Loth. Loth will show up, save the day, and then
Holy
turn
shit.
to that person
Wait a minute.
and be like,
Wait a
what
minute.
the fuck are you doing?
You were gonna have fucking Loth show up?
Yeah.
In Barovia?
Not in Barovia.
Holy
This was
fuck.
in Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, my brain went, oh my god, Loth versus Strahd would be a badass fight.
No.
Like,
So I will tell you here. So, big bad, oh shoot, oh fuck moment. I've come up with this idea. I have warned the players, there is a 25% chance that Strahd will show up in this combat. And it's not to fight them, it's to save them, because you have Irina, and then you have another person who is also kind of Irina. And they're both unconscious. So therefore, Strahd's wee woo is like, my Tatiana danger senses are tingling, and then will show up, see both of these people are in trouble, and will save the day, and then probably kidnap these two people. Because it's like, clearly you're not fit.
People?
Yeah. Clearly you're not fit to save these people. I'm gonna save them. You can come have dinner at my house later and talk to them, and we can talk this out.
Yeah,
Another
later,
player-
we're gonna have a discussion about this?
Yeah. Because I haven't introduced Strahd so far as like a malicious spirit. Anything. Like, they have the party hasn't invoked like Strahd's wrath at all. And it's just like a looming threat that's over there, and they know they have to do something with Strahd in order to like bring peace to Barovia. But like, I haven't had this bozo show up. But this is one of the cases bozo shows up if something happens to Bozo 1 or Bozo 2. Another instance is we have a warlock, and that warlock is going to summon their patron mid-combat. And their patron is basically the other mother from Coraline.
Oh my god. That's
And
fucking awesome.
And then I started to think, I'm like, okay, so if Mother shows up in combat and tries and saves people, and then tries to like take someone as like leverage, or like, you're welcome, I saved you, I'm taking this
This one
person
is
with
mine.
me.
No.
Yeah. Lynx's character is absolutely gonna pull out her gun and shoot that person. And then I'm like,
Just
okay,
pulls
so
a
they
gun
finish.
out and shoots them in the face.
Yeah, and then so it's gonna be, they finish the combat, they ask someone to help finish this combat, and then they start another combat with a malicious spirit or a patron, and then I started blasting, and I'm like, okay. So I have planned, like, this could devolve into 3 fights. There is a possibility that Mother and Strahd could fight each other. And I'm sitting here going, like, I don't know what's gonna happen during this combat, and I'm terrified, but I have it all planned out just in case.
Yeah, I've had to do that a couple of times, because there's a character in the West March game, Jess's character, Nakawe. If Nakawe goes down at any given point, right? There is I roll a D percentile, and there's a 30% chance that the God of the Sun just shows up. And that's not good for fucking anybody at that point. But at the same time, the other, like, percentile die is Nakawe's other step-parent shows up, who is the second most powerful vampire in UEs. And then there's a third option where the single most powerful Fae in UEs shows up, because Mifune's been tasked with taking care of Nakawe. So, like, I've had to know that in my head, whereas when every time Nakawe goes out on a fucking mission, where, like, there is a potential where I'll have to use these characters, even though it is not my intention to do so.
And this just sort of just happened, and we realized, oh fuck, we've made a little guy who really, after they retire, is probably a good thing for the world.
Yeah. Yeah, not gonna lie, it is a good thing for the rest of the world that you are retiring your character.
I'm just like, there's too much. There's too much of this character dies,
Yeah.
and it's just too much. But you know, it's great. I need to post that quest for the Jabberwocky at some point.
Yes, you do.
We gotta sort that out.
Yeah, we can talk about that at some point. Whenever you are available to do so.
Yeah. But it's fun. What was the last thing we talked about? Player death.
Yeah,
Other
player
murder,
death.
all that.
Yep.
We also have in this one in Barovia, I guess, of like you get one get out of death free card.
Technically, you guys have two, because you guys have a gem that allows you to cast Revivify as for free, and then it goes dormant as it's recharging. And it's like a week or two. It takes 2 weeks to recharge. But then you always have like a one free Revivify that anyone can cast despite your... As long as you have the ability to cast spells, which is everyone in the game. Because my setting, everyone is born as a sorcerer. Because when you smush the Feywild, the Shadowfell, and the Material Plane together, magic is fucked up. So everyone's just kind of innately magical. Which is interesting, because, like, Ven's playing a character who has no magic. It's a rogue and a fighter, the two classes that don't touch magic. And I've come up with, like, if you decide, so at any point in the campaign, you want to cast a spell that is outside of your spellcasting abilities, it's not on your spell sheet, or it is on the sorcerer spell list. You can force your body to cast that spell. You will just have repercussions. You'll take damage based off of the level of the spell. What is it? Is it on your spell list? Is it outside of your spell list? The potency of it. Like if you're trying to it's a first level spell, but you want to upcast it to 3rd level. And then you'll take damage as your body is trying to rip yourself apart. Or in my game, it's your body starts to crystallize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't have any... So if Evan ever overcasted as a rogue and a fighter and decided, everyone is down and wants to cast, mass healing word. So everyone gets, a d4 hit points. So they get back up in the combat. She will be vulnerable to the damage. So this could actually kill her character. And I've explained that to her, and she's like, ooh, sexy. I like this. So it's if you're not a spellcaster, with the classes you picked are not a spellcaster, you will be vulnerable to the damage because you're not used to casting spells. So it's literally your body ripping you apart, trying to figure out how this magic works. So...
Damn, I should have kept Tamara a Cavalier Fighter.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, you could change it. I don't care. You just can't change your character a week
after it's
before.
Yeah.
And
I'm stuck between making her a paladin or a cavalier fighter. I know it's one or the other, but
I will say if you want to go into the fighter route, I will just let you have the Divine Smite feature onto your weapon. So you can cast, Divine Smite, up to your proficiency bonus. So you can do it twice per day. And it could be either fire, cold, or radiant damage, whatever you choose.
Yeah, it'll probably be radiant, because,
yeah.
The two weapons I want to give Tamara specifically are her scimitar, which we've already made, and then eventually I want to give her a lance.
Yeah.
Because I think lances are fucking cool.
Yeah.
But what I might do is later into her arc, I might multi-class her into Cavalier.
Yeah. My game will go to hopefully 20. I already statted out the big bad at the end of the game, so it is nasty for level 20. But if I have to, or my brain space doesn't allow me to hit 20, then I will just mitigate it to 15. But like Ven
Yeah.
thought we were going to 10, and so she was like, "Oh, I can't pick up like a spellcasting class," and I'm like, "No, honey, we're going to 20. Be wild, be free." And if you're ever lacking on an ability because you multi-classed, I'm just gonna give you a magic item that fixes that, so you still feel strong and powerful, and you're not like lagging behind the other party members. We're just like a straight
I love that.
class. I think it's stupid.
I love
so
that a
it's like,
lot.
here you go.
I love that as a DM, like as a fellow DM, I love that you do that because I do the same fucking thing. Growing up playing old school D&D, a lot of characters and a lot of players were motivated by magic items. Nowadays, like standard 5th edition make magic items a dime a dozen, but at the same time, like I want magic items to matter. So like, yeah, you have things like in my world, kobolds, because they are draconic and they're in nature, and they a lot of them are red scaled. Most kobolds carry fire activated spears. Like the weapons that kobolds carry are magically enchanted with fire because they're basically all sorcerers.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've made kobolds. They revere the dragon, which scales they have, so they innately have the magic of that monster. So yeah, or that dragon. So like, yeah, if you have green scaled kobolds, they're gonna have acid, because I play a lot of Pathfinder. They're gonna have acid or poison damage on their spears.
Yeah.
But then there are other magic items that are fucking relic items, artifact items that were from ancient times that are fucking amazing, and I want those magic items to matter. I want players to be motivated to go get that loot, get those magic items.
I heard you guys talking about changing characters. Or changing character stuff. I remember the first time we played D&D, our first DM was like, up until like, what, level 5, you can change
your character.
Or like anything about your character save for like certain things. I can't remember that much.
It was your race. That was the race and gender, basically. It was like the only thing, like, he wanted static.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else could be finger waves.
Yeah, like I'm also a person who is like, oh, you don't like the class that you liked? I'm not gonna make you multi-class into a class. We'll just take all those 6 levels in Rogue and we'll change it to a different class. Your hit points might change based on what D8, D10, D6 class you change into. That's the only thing that's gonna matter in the end. And like, I want you to have fun, not be stuck with a character you're not having fun with. Because like, some people don't want to like retire a character. They're just like, I just need to change this one thing on this character and I'll be happy. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't like being a fighter anymore? Do you want to be a paladin instead? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, we'll change all your fighter levels to paladin. Like, I don't care.
I love stuff like that.
Save for like a few circumstances. Mainly that's been a pretty good mold to follow, because most people don't change up their stuff all the time, and so I think it's a really good thing to have.
We discussed changing patrons. Like Jester and I have talked about, like, what if Hollow can't stand Reineke anymore and wants a different sugar daddy, sugar mommy, sugar then be patron? And I'm like, yeah. And if it requires, are you okay swapping subclasses if it happens, depending on like what patron comes to her? Comes this little raccoon. And Jester was like, yeah, got it, boss. And I'm like, okay, we'll see how the story plays. There's potentiality that we won't have a healer in the game anymore. That's okay. Or like the healer.
Whoever looks at this fucked up little guy goes, hey buddy, are you tired of that fox harassing you? Come here. I can help you out, definitely.
One other thing that I really love, just as a like as a DM that I saw it on the internet. It was on Reddit or somewhere, and someone asked, "Hey, is it possible to multi-class into the same class?
Yeah.
And just multi-class into multiple subclasses?" And I was like, "That should be a thing. There should be a mechanic for that because I love that idea." Like a battle master cavalier fighter, because that just makes sense. Or a totem warrior, berserker barbarian.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
I want to pet. I would pet Raniki if he looked like that.
So that's what I found this. It is a Irish mythological creature called a Einfield. So it is a fox with griffin wings and the ferocity of a lion, basically, in a fox's body.
I love that.
That's so cute. I like it a lot, yeah.
But it's also like the grim idea of like Reineke being a lawful evil trickster spirit and is like temporarily borrowing power from Madagot, the trickster cat, and Belena, the bird, like the freedom bird, to be this form sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a little fucked up, but your guy's a little fucked up.
Like,
you picked a fucked up patron. Are you allowed me to pitch you a fucked up patron? And you went, yes.
In universe, it's like I kept offering this patron stuff, and they just went, "Hey, Kips, come here." But Abby was like, "Hey, do you want this fucked up little guy?" And I went, "Absolutely, please come right in."
I love that.
He's based off
so
of
as
Pinocchio.
wonderful as this, yeah, as wonderful as this session of fucking lore dumping has been, because I've loved it. I do need to eat before I run another D&D game tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will have to be going. We should do this more often. Like, this should become a thing that we do.
Yeah. Like I told you, I pitched it to
absolutely.
Celeste also the other day, and like the podcast idea that you came up with, and she's also absolutely down. It's just trying to get everyone together, or we just cycle through the cast of just like, let's talk about D&D and our worlds and our blorbas, and if anyone has questions, this is the time to ask them. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be a fucking fantastic idea. I'm typically available as long as I'm not running a game, and even if I am running a game, I will do this beforehand.
I'm typically available
So
in evenings.
yeah,
Which is usually when we run all of our
whenever
DVDs.
I'm available when I'm usually not plain tuckered out
Yeah.
by being tired from work.
God, what a mood.
but yeah, so this has been absolutely fucking fantastic.
We also
I'm gonna go make
hands.
right.
Good game.
Good game. Yep. Jess, I will see you in about an hour.
Oh yeah. Get those
For ducks.
Listen, as soon as I can get all my characters into town, I think all of them are just gonna have a nice little rest for a little bit, aside from Nakawe's Jabberwocky hunt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think probably the only one that you've got that's probably gonna be on consistent quests for a while is
Ranu.
Ranu. Because that quest, it even says on the quest, you're gonna be gone for 12 to 13 sessions. So
Plus, Midas has to run a Monster Hunters Guild with friends.
yeah, exactly. Midas needs to go back.
Don't worry. Alula is taking care of the guild responsibly. And otherwise, Curio is probably gonna come up to you and be like, hey, I need help slaying a beast. You're tough and strong. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I meant to tell you. How much was the allotment of money we get for the guild specifically?
You get $6,000, 6,000 gold pieces a month.
So we get 6K a month for the guild. And I meant to tell you that at some point. I just completely forgot to tell you.
Alula shakes.
It just
in
comes
her
into
boots.
the coffers.
No, Lula. I hold a Lula in my hands. It's
Alula
it's
just
for the
shakes.
guild.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, of course.
It's for the
It's also
guild.
it's all for the guild. You won't,
As a matter
you
of
won't
fact,
miss.
likely
You won't miss
Alula
10 gold.
was sitting there, looking at an empty safe, and very suddenly it was not empty anymore, because it
Yeah,
doesn't
'cause-
just it isn't delivered
Oh.
to you. It is magically put there.
Oh, fun. Yeah, because I
Magically,
imagine like
the safe just started filling with gold.
yeah, like Midas is like the figurehead and does all like the conversations and the fighting, but Alula is the person in the background who's doing all the paperwork and making sure everything is going great. The only thing
Mhm.
she's not allowed to touch is money, which I guess goes to Dietrich's or Midas when he comes back.
Yeah, paying. It goes to paying your members, because you
Yeah.
do have several members of the guild now.
So I
Yeah.
feel like that 6K, if we don't need to keep track of money, is just spent on making sure the guild's running, the guild members are happy, and if they have any concerns, they can talk to Midas. And I jokingly say they can fight Midas about it. You know.
I mean, there's a dragonborn or draken in your guild that would absolutely fight Midas.
Midas would fight anybody,
Yeah, I know.
anyone, anytime.
Gustav is very
why-
upset that he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why
Yeah,
Kurio's
you-
gonna come visit you and be like, hey, you're strong and tough. I need to go fight a dog. Let's go.
Dog fight. Let's go.
A giant three-headed ice dog.
I think Kurio's just gonna be like, so you wanna kill a dog that with 3 heads? And then it's like ... A Cerberus, you idiot. Come on, let's go.
I mean, if it's a threat, then yeah, go take care of it.
Oh, it's a threat.
You're
Oh,
the
it's a
Monster Hunter Guild. This is what you're supposed to do. Kill monsters. Come on, big boy, let's go. Come on.
I love it's like looks at Midas. Come on, let's go.
I
Kurio
love that
is
too.
4'11".
So
She's so tiny.
But yeah, this is really great. We should do this more often.
We 100% should. All right, I'm gonna hop off and I'm gonna go. Eat. You folks have a wonderful evening. I'm gonna put us on the
Okay.
ending screen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.